What do you call it when a political leader and a party are democratically elected and then immediately proceed to cancel elections for millions of people across the country? Meanwhile, that same country tops international league tables for people arrested and jailed for speech violations, and the police routinely show up at people's doors for things that they have said that are politically incorrect. What do you call it when that same political leader's attorney general launches into astonishing, personal, deeply political attacks against their boss's primary political rival? What do you call it when that same political leader starts to withdraw the right to a jury trial that has been around in this country for hundreds of years? What do you call it when that same political party is censoring the internet and now has announced that it will impose digital ID to further surveil and control the population? I know what it's called. It's called authoritarianism. It's called fascism. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore. These are extraordinarily dark times. And isn't it funny that they use those words to describe reform? Well, I would suggest every accusation is an admission. And these are very dangerous times for this country. I'm personally very concerned, much more than I've ever been. And I think you should be too. And if you share that concern, I ask that you go to reformparty.uk/join and join us on our mission to resist all of this and turn this great country around.
Zia Yusuf's message is crafted as a warning shot, using a rapid series of rhetorical questions to frame the government's actions as unmistakably authoritarian by listing accusations, cancelled elections, speech-related arrests, politicized legal attacks, erosion of jury trials, internet censorship, and digital surveillance. He builds a narrative of a state steadily centralizing power while shrinking civil liberties. His repeated question, "What do you call it?" is a deliberate device that pushes the audience toward his conclusion before he even names it: authoritarianism and fascism. Yusuf reinforces this by flipping the government's criticism of reform on its head, arguing that every accusation is an admission, a classic political technique that casts opponents as guilty of the very abuses they deny. The emotional arc of the speech is clear. Describe a worsening crisis, intensify the sense of national danger, then pivot to a call for action by urging listeners to join the Reform Party. Whether one sees this as a justified alarm or political exaggeration, the speech succeeds in its goal, creating urgency, rallying discontent, and framing reform as the only force capable of resisting a government he portrays as increasingly unaccountable.
More Northern Voices.
Sure. I'm blushing.
And especially Scousers, exactly, you're right.
Now, great story on the front page of the Daily Mail today. They're calling it a world exclusive, Malone.
Yes, this is about Meghan Markle's father, is apparently what they're saying, that he's dying. He's in intensive care, and he's just had emergency surgery in the Philippines. He's 81. And of course, the big question that everyone's asking is, will Meghan Markle, who is currently on Netflix doing her Christmas special, and talking about the importance, talking about the importance of family at Christmas. The big question is whether she will go and visit her ailing father. We know she hasn't seen him since she got married. That was about 5-6 years ago. Harry has never met him. But it just would seem incredible that she has spent the last 2 years talking about, on this Netflix, what's it called, With Love, Meghan or something, talking about the importance of family, banging on about how important it is to be close, and especially at Christmas. And the likelihood is she will not go and see her dying father.
What would you advise?
I would advise her to do it. She shouldn't have to be told to go and see him. This is a woman who talks about compassion all of the time. She talks about compassion for others. She wanted to make her living traveling around the world, making life better for disadvantaged people. So where's her compassion for the father who actually brought her up, who paid for her private education while her mother was in jail, who took huge care of her, and she's not seen him in the latter years. More importantly, she's not just seen him, she's totally snubbed him. Thomas
When was her
Markle.
mum in jail? When was her mum in jail?
Years ago.
Didn't know that.
Do you want me to give you the precise date, time?
Well,
Because I haven't got it.
I've
But
never heard that before.
Years ago. Anyway, she. But you know, this old gentleman now could be dying.
Yeah.
He needs to see his daughter.
Jonathan, let's just bring yourself in now. What's your take on this? To me, it reminds me almost of when we heard the news about King Charles with the enlarged prostate and people asking, will Harry come back to see his father? You know, is this other people's business, or should we just leave them to it? It's Meghan's decision whether she goes or not.
I thought we didn't know what the King's cancer was.
No, it was just an enlarged prostate. That's never been confirmed.
I think that this is a private matter. This is something we do not know what goes on behind closed doors. And I think that if there is a difficulty in a family, it happens very often, it's very regrettable, then those people should be allowed to deal with their responses in private. I would no more tell Meghan to go and see her father than I would a friend who was estranged from their parent and whose parent was ill. Because
Would you advise
a friend to go and see a parent?
Especially if they were dying or likely to.
Because I could say, what I would say to that friend is, how do you think you will feel if your parent dies and you haven't seen them? And they can answer that question for themselves. Some of them will say, I'll feel really sad. Some of them will say, I will regret it if I haven't seen them. And others will say, no, I have no regrets at all.
Maybe it isn't all about the person. Maybe it's about the person who was ill, not about Meghan, not about what she thinks. Maybe to give her father some comfort.
It's also more poignant. It's Christmas.
It's completely Christmas.
It's time when families come together.
And, you know, this show that she is currently recording, I mean, I think even if she, on a very commercial level, if she doesn't go to see him now, everything she has preached on this show and over the last 2 years will be trashed. It will be rubbish. It will show she doesn't have any compassion. And, you know, the truth of it is, Jonathan, it doesn't matter what's happened in life to people. Every family falls out. Every family fights, and some of them are terrible. But when someone is at the very end, you should at least have the compassion, the good grace, the whatever, to just go and say goodbye.
Carol, I think we've had this conversation before, you know, off screen, about personal matters as well. And I will say to you the same thing I said before, which is that we never know what goes on inside other people's lives.
No,
I try not to sit in judgment on anyone personally, regardless of what they, my disagreements with them politically or whatever, anything like that. And I would not judge her for a decision that she takes. Obviously, it's a very, very sad situation.
People have judged her because she hasn't just fallen out with her dad. She's fallen out with her entire family. She doesn't speak to any of her family. Now, there's lots of...
Same with Harry.
Same with Harry. There's lots of there's lots of talk out there that her family just wasn't good enough for her new role in life, wasn't classy enough, wasn't smart enough, didn't look the part to be the family of a duchess. So there's all of that going on, but I don't think it matters what you fell out over. I really don't. And Thomas Markle has said he doesn't even know. You know, he has talked publicly about this. He doesn't know.
Look, I think that this is going to be such a moment of private grief, no matter what happens. I just say that I think there are so many things that you can legitimately criticise Meghan for or Harry for. You know, I have different mixed opinions on them, but I just think on this particular issue, this is something that she's going through in her private life. It's not my business.
If she doesn't see him and he dies, would it be appropriate then for her to go to the funeral, having snubbed her father?
He's her father. Whatever she wants to do is appropriate.
So go say goodbye to him.
That may well be a view. That may well be a view that other people around her have. But I just would not sit in judgment on her on this particular issue. I'm sorry.